It was on August 8th, 1978, when the news about the death of the first president of the Republic of Kenya broke out. MZEE Jomo Kenyatta had passed. But today, we want to look at the night that MZEE Jomo Kenyatta passed and the circumstances surrounding his death, which were circumstances that were shrouded in mystery until someone in the inside spilled the beans concerning what happened on the last day of the late MZEE Jomo Kenyatta. Did you know, for instance, that there was a time when the charismatic old man lapsed into a coma for 3 days? In September 2008, Lynn Jiru, the former Jomo Kenyatta Presidential Press Unit Information Officer, issued an earth-shaker of a statement. Jiru, later President Daniel Moi's press secretary for more than 3 decades, claimed that President Jomo Kenyatta would have lived longer were it not for negligence and corruption by his aides. According to Jiru, the founding father of the nation didn't get the best of medical attention in spite of his advanced age and failing health. Now, the statement added that MZEE had reached a stage where he could not remember simple things and was unable to sign documents. Jiru would recall the old man fainted at his toilet in Sambweni on August 21st, 1978. Now, I said August 8th. No, it was on August 28th. The time that MZEE fainted was 1 week before his death. Kenyans were told that the president had died peacefully in his sleep. But here was an insider talking of near criminal negligence of the aides of the late MZEE Jomo Kenyatta. According to Jiru, Kenyatta had no surgeon by his side the day he died. In Walking in Kenyatta's Struggle, My Story, former Kenyatta era secretary to the cabinet and later Central Bank of Kenya Governor Duncan Ndegwa notes that although Kenyatta was an ordinary mortal, many Kenyans did not want to entertain the thought of a Kenya without him. Now, some of us lived with the nightmare of waking up and finding Kenyatta gone. Although the state was made up of institutions, he was our source of power and inspiration. Now, Ndegwa writes Kenyatta never wanted his health discussed in public and he would learn the hard way. He recalls a delegation from Kitui visiting the president's Gatundu home and waiting for the whole day with no sight of the stately figure in Gatundu. When Ndegwa decided it was only cautious to inform the delegation that MZEE was unwell, but sought the homesman permission to do so, he was thoroughly harassed and told that, "No, are you mad? Has something gone wrong with your head?" He quotes Kenyatta as admonishing him. Kenyatta would not hear of wearing glasses even as his sight deteriorated, preferring his speeches to be typed in bigger fonts. He gradually wore glasses when the large fonts trick couldn't work. According to Ndegwa, Kenyatta's heart was failing, but he was not the one to entertain things like pace setters. So when the renowned South African heart transplant pioneer Christian Barnard visited Kenya at the invitation of the Serbian Attorney General Charles Mugane Jonjo, a pace set on Kenyatta was out of the question. Barnard's visit would kick up a stink because Kenya was not supposed to have any ties with apartheid South Africa, but that is a story for another day. The failing heart, Ndegwa writes, was perhaps the cause of the blackouts that Kenyatta suffered from time to time, on occasion for long periods. Now, this is a story from the insider. Being a man that worked at the State House Press for so long, Ndegwa knew everything in regards to the president's health. On one such occasion, we have it on Ndegwa's authority, Kenyatta suffered a blackout at his Mombasa Tiririka residence and remained in a coma for 3 days. And this was never exposed or revealed to the public nor the media because the president never wanted anything in regards to his own health issues being discussed in public. So they were 3 days of uncertainty. And when he came out of it, I asked him what had happened. He replied that he had visited Waweru wa Makanga, meaning an expansive plane where he was all alone. Kenyatta also suffered bouts of gut. I mean, his stomach sometimes was bloated. He says, my dictionary defines it as an extremely painful inflammation of joint, especially of the big toe, caused by a metabolic defect resulting in the accumulation of uric acid in the blood and the deposition of urates around the joints. In the statement, Njiru is unhappy that Kenyatta's handlers allowed him to travel to Msambweni when he was obviously weak, he protested. To start with, MZEE should not have been allowed to travel to Msambweni on August 21st, 1978, to be subjected to the indignity of collapsing in a washroom. As a young information officer, I had been from 1977 assigned to cover all the official functions of MZEE. This critical day, he had lunch with all the Kenyan envoys abroad. This was at State House, Mombasa. I could see the concern of the envoys as MZEE's speech was a worrying incoherent starter. The then Minister of State in the office of the President, Mr. Peter Mbiu Koinange, was at the high table. I cast a furtive glance at him to see his reaction and noticed he was not bothered with MZEE's condition. This surprised me because Mbiu was not only MZEE Kenyatta's minister and confidant, but also his brother-in-law. But it was after lunch that things became terrifying. MZEE missed his way out and headed at the DG caretaker's office, where he caused a commotion among the junior staff as the room was littered with dirty utensils and food leftovers. When he was redirected to his sleeping room, the old man could not make it upstairs. In between the flight of stairs, he ran out of breath and asked for a chair. After a brief rest, he went to his private quarters. After witnessing all this agony, I was convinced that Mbiu Koinange or the PC Eliud Mahihu or the State House co-patroller Alexander Gitau would cancel the Msambweni function. They didn't. I believe that Kenyatta's life would have been saved if immediate medication attention was made available. Now, this is a statement coming from Njiru. He was the man behind the State House press then. And you know, the night that MZEE Jomo Kenyatta passed is a night that is never discussed on mostly on magazines, or let me say, on any media houses in the country. But when you look at how Ndegwa explains what really happened that day, you will come into agreement that there would be something that would have been done to Kenyatta. You know, right now, what happens and what have been informed is that, like our current president of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. William Ruto, he is not the one that is in control of his health. There are people and doctors, specialists assigned to watch his diet, to watch his movement, to write his speech, to make sure that he undergoes checkups every week, so that the president will not be found at a place that he is not able to represent the country and to run the country as he is supposed to. The same thing to the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya right now, Mr. Deputy President Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua. It's something that was supposed to be there from MZEE Jomo Kenyatta. And if it was there and they were so strict to MZEE, remember MZEE was somebody that was never told anything. Jomo Kenyatta, according to history and the way I've seen it, Kenyatta never listened to nobody. When it came to mostly even the food that he ate, he was warned on eating fatty meats. and it's something that he really disagreed with. He told them, you can never decide on what I will eat. And this man had started suffering hearty complications. So this is something that really took him so early. After 1 week, remember, he went in Msambweni on 21st of August 1978. But 1 week later, on 28th August 1978, is when the public was made known that President Jomo Kenyatta had passed. And now the military choppers were supposed to be taken out from Embakasi base, Air Force base in Embakasi, to Mombasa, so that the body of the late president will be carried back to Nairobi, where the public viewing of the body of the president was supposed to be done. And the president wasn't even supposed to travel to Mombasa at that. And let me tell you, Kenyatta did not die on August 28th. Kenyatta died about 3 days earlier, before the news were made to the public on August 28th. Kenyatta died like August 25th, if I'm not wrong, according to the informants and the insiders' information that we have. Kenyatta died on August 25th, 1978. But due to the delays and people like Peter Mbiu Koinange, his brother-in-law, the Attorney General Charles Mugane Jonjo, and the State House co-patroller Alexander, they made the process so slow because they did not want the then Vice President Daniel Moi knowing of the passing of the president, because they wanted to formulate a plan that they will house the Moi and have somebody else sworn in as the President of the Republic of Kenya apart from Daniel Moi. I bet you understand history from another perspective. You can get whatever I'm saying if you listen to me carefully. They tried everything so that Daniel Moi wouldn't be the president. After 3 days, they had not notified Mama Ngina. They had not notified Mama Ngina that your husband has passed. They tried every cheeky move that they could, but did not succeed on that. So they decided, you know what? We are not going to make it this far. So the best thing that we can do is inform the vice president and also inform the nation of the passing of the president. And they went on to do so. Remember, the Kiambu Mafia. The Kiambu Mafia was led by Charles Jonjo and Peter Mbiu Koinange. So these are the people that thought, you know what? We have it in us that when President Kenyatta dies, we are the ones that will take over the country. But they were never given that chance, because the president, when his health started deteriorating, he started formulating plans of making Moi the president. But the Kiambu Mafia were in opposition to that. Akina Jenga Karume, these are people that are associated with the Kiambu Mafia. The then GSU commandant, Mr. Bernard Hinga, were people that did not want Moi becoming the president. And so they did so much to make sure that Moi does not become the president of the Republic of Kenya. I bet you have understood the last 1 week of the life of the late president, MZEE Jomo Kenyatta. That's it for now. Make sure you subscribe. See you in the next video. My name is FK Mwenda, and this is Drums of History.